Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari
Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari
Yashodanandana Jaya Prajapala Ranjana
Jayo Yashodanandana Jayo Brajjana Ranjana
Yamunadira Vanachari Kunja Vihari
Jayo Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Kunjabi Hari
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari
Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunjabi Hari
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Srila Prabhupada ki,
Jai,
Shri Gauranitai ki,
Jai,
Kandaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki,
Jai,
Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol.
Okay, so today we are reading from chapter 4, sorry, Canto 4, chapter 5, and text 22, 23, and 24. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Naram Shaivam Namaskrityam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Utirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhitreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevayam Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Naistaki Shnaya Vasudevaya Devahi Nandanayata Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So we will read the text now. Akramya
Akramya
Urasi
Udasi
Dakshasya
Dakshasya
Sitadharane
Sitadarane
Hetina
Itina
Chindan
Chindan
Api
Api
Tat
Tat
Uddartum
Udritum
Na Ashoknat Na Asaknot
Na Ashaknot
Triambakaha
Triambakaha
Sada.
Tada
Okay. Akramyorashitakshasya
Akramyo Rashidakshasya
Shitadharena Hetina
Shitadharena Hetina
Chindan api uddartum
Chindanapi tadudhartum
Nashaknotrayam Nashakto natrayam bakashtata
Nashaknotyambakastada
Akramyo rashitakshasya
Akramyo
आक्रम्योरसि दक्षस्य
Shitadharena Hetina
शीतधारे
Shitadharena
हेतिना
Hetina
Chindan api uddartum
छिन्दन्
Chindanapi
अर्थम्
tadudhartum
Nashaknotrayam bakashtata.
नाशक्नोत्यम्बकस्तदा
Nashaknotriyambakastada
Yeah, you can recite. Someone can recite.
आक्रम्योरसि दक्षस्य
Akramyo Rasidakshasya
शीतधारेण हेतिना
Shitadharena Hetina
छिन्दन् अपि तद् उद्धर्तुम्
Chindanapi tadudhartum
नाशक्नोत्यम्बकस्तदा
Nashaknostrayambakastada Akramyo Rasidakshasya Shitadharena Hetina
Itadarena hetina
चिन्दन्नपि तद् उद्धर्तुम्
चिन्दनपि तरुतातुं
न शक्नोत्र्यम्बकस्तदा
न शक्नोत्र्यम्बकस्तदा
अक्रम्यो रसि दक्षस्य
आक्रम्यो
अक्रम्यरक्षितक्षस्य
रक्षितक्षस्य
सीतादारेण हेतिना
सीतदारेण हेतिना
हेतिना
चिन्दन् अपि तद् उद्धर्तुम्
चिन्तन् अपि तदुद्धर्तुम्
आशाकनोट्तरयम्बक्स्तदा
नाशक्नोत्र्यम्बकस्तथा
हरे कृष्ण
Okay. So what?
आक्रम्योरसि दक्षस्य
आक्रम्योरसि दक्षस्य
सीतदारेण हेतिना
शीतदारेण हेतिना
चिन्दनपि तदुद्धर्तुं
चिन्तनपि तदुद्धर्तुम्
न शक्नोत्र्यम्बकस्तदा
न शक्नोस्त्र्यम्बकस्तथा
Anyone else? Okay. We'll do word by word meaning. Akramya,
आक्रम्य
having sat.
having sat
Urasi,
Urasi
on the chest.
on the chest
Dakshasya,
Dakshasya
of Daksha.
of Daksha
Shitadarena,
Shitadarena
having a sharp blade.
having a
a
sharp
sharp
blade,
blade
Hetina,
Hetina,
Etina
with a weapon.
with
with
a
a
weapon
Chindan,
Chindan
cutting.
cutting,
Api,
Abhi,
even though.
even
even
though
though
Tat,
that,
Thad
that head.
that head,
Uddartum,
Uddhartum
Udartum,
to separate.
to
to
separate,
separate
Nashaknot,
Na
Nashaknot,
Shaknot
was not able.
was not
was not
able
able,
Triambakaha,
Triyambaka
Triyambaka,
Veerabhadra, who had 3 eyes.
Veerabhadra who
Veerabhadra, who
had
had 3
three
eyes,
eyes
Tata,
Tada
Tada,
after this.
after
after this
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki.
that,
Jai
Then Veerabhadra, the giant-like personality, sat on the chest of Daksha and tried to separate his head from his body with sharp weapons, but was unsuccessful. Okay, I'll read the next 2 slokas also by myself. Text 23. Shastrais astrani vitair evam anirbinna tvacham haraha vishmayam param apanno dadyau pashupatishchiram. Translation. He tried to cut the head of Daksha with hymns as well as weapons, but still it was hard to cut even the surface of the skin of Daksha's head. Thus Veerabhadra was exceedingly bewildered. Dristva samyana panam yoham. Dristva shamyana panam yogam. Pashunam sapatir makhe. Yajamana pashokasya. Kayattena harachiraha. Translation. Then Veerabhadra saw the wooden device in the sacrificial arena by which the animals were to have been killed. He took the opportunity of this facility to behead Daksha. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In this connection, it is to be noted that the device used for killing animals in the sacrifice was not designed to facilitate eating their flesh. The killing was specifically intended to give a new life to the sacrificed animal by the power of Vedic mantra. The animals were sacrificed to test the strength of Vedic mantras. Yajnas were performed as a test of the mantra. Even in the modern age, tests are executed on animals' body in the physiology laboratory. Similarly, whether or not the Brahmanas were uttering the Vedic hymns correctly was tested by sacrifice in the arena. On the whole, the animals thus sacrificed were not at all the losers. Some old animals would be sacrificed, but in exchange for their old bodies, they received other new bodies. That was the test of Vedic mantras. Veerabhadra, instead of sacrificing animals with a wooden device, immediately beheaded Daksha to the astonishment of everyone. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदातिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं पदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं शाकरजातं सहगण रघुनाथं विदं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्विदंश जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. So today we are covering three texts, 22, 23 and 24. And this is talking about the situation where Veerabhadra was trying to kill Daksha now that he killed. So in Calcutta, I heard that there is a slaughterhouse, and there they have a Kali, Mother Kali's picture. They offer the slaughtered animals to Mother Kali, and then give that, sell that as prasadam. So Panchaganari Prabhu was mentioning about this in one of his classes. So this is interesting. Other interesting topic that we need to take away from today's text way, Prabhupada's purport line that the yajnas or the sacrifice or Vedic hymns when we utter, why do we do that? To test it. Why we test it? To see the result expected or the desired result. So what happens when we do not utter correctly? What happens when the yajnas were interrupted? We'll talk about that. So before that, for our Kali Yuga, there is no Vedic hymns as such. Only we have Sankirtan Yajna, which is most prosperous and you know successful mantra, Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada says how that when we test the animals in the laboratory, similarly, those days Brahmanas would perform yagya to test the mantra, their proficiency of mantra and the pronunciation, etc., and see the results. If the results are as good as expected, then it is successful, correct? And for Kali Yuga, Sankirtana Yagya, when we do practice this mantra yagya, Maha Mantra Yagya, what happens? The results should be shown. What are the results given in Shastras? Bhava Bhakti. So one should have the tears in our eyes and the hairs should stand up on the end. If it doesn't happen to us, then we are not doing it correctly. Simple as that. That's what Pangajangri Prabhu was mentioning that as well. So therefore, what we should be aiming is that attentive chanting with the call out that we are desperate for the mercy of the Lord and Radharani and Gauranitai. And my Guru Maharaj always suggests us, strongly recommends us that we should take shelter of Nityananda Prabhu because he is the most merciful incarnation. relatively to other incarnation or other forms of the Lord. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not that merciful in the pastime that we know, the common famous pastime, Jai Matai. Therefore, we should take shelter of Nityananda Prabhu and beg him for his mercy so that he can take us to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who will then take us to Radha Krishna. And of course, Guru always there. First is Guru. And even to approach Nityananda Prabhu, how will we know unless Guru directs us, right? So that's one learning. The next thing that we would like to discuss or focus on, the yagyas that have been performed in the Vedic days, successful yagyas and unsuccessful yagyas and almost unsuccessful yagyas. With the successful yagyas, we see that Dasharath Maharaj successfully performed Putra Kamesha yagya and, had Rama, Bharata, Lakshmana and Shatrughna. Why I'm telling this in order? Because that's how they were born, even though Ram, Lakshman together and Bharat, Shatrughna together, but the born in order was chronological order was this. So that was a successful yagya. And we also know there were so many other successful yagya also. And Chitraketu also received benediction to have a child, but with the warning that the child will become the source of happiness and misery. Besides that warning, he went ahead and he, went ahead with with begetting the child, and then therefore he learned his lessons. But nevertheless, God is always merciful, and even more merciful is our Guru, spiritual master. In his case, Narada Muni and Angira. So they were merciful, and then they said, yes, you can practice spiritual path now. If you practice bhakti, you will get not only you will get over the situation emotionally, but also you will reach the lotus feet of the Lord. And then he reaches Lord Shankarshana's abode. So the uninterrupted yagyas we have seen, there are so many. There are so many in Vedic. Even when Lord Ramachandra had his coronation completed, everyone was still staying, all the guests, Janaka Maharaj and so many other, esteemed kings who have come to participate, and then Vanaras, Hanuman, Vanara king, and then Lanka's king now. So many, esteemed personalities were present, and Rama, now it's time to say a bit farewell to them. So he approached every single person according to the status. He approached them and he mentioned that yes, now that they can leave. And Janaka Maharaj also, and with gifts, so much wealth of gold and other very expensive things that he was giving, Lord Ramachandra was giving to the guests. And they started to leave. And then after they left, what he did, the first thing was performing yagya. So this is the culture in the Vedic days. But again in Kali Yuga, we do not have to follow that because we do not have any qualified brahmanas, unfortunately. Therefore, we just need to stick with Sankirtan Yagya. That doesn't need any qualification because the mercy is the qualification that we received. And even Yudhishthira Maharaj performed Rajasuya Yagya successfully. We've discussed this elaborately in Monday's class. And this is uninterrupted yagyas, right? Then interrupted yagya is, even in Daksha's case, if we notice that Daksha having this long-term grudges towards Lord Shiva, it exploded at the scene of yagya, seeing Shiva's continuous disrespectful position. Therefore, he did what he did. We all know that we covered this many times. I don't want to go over this again. But despite the advice given by the sages and other personalities in the assembly, he still left the assembly, the arena. And in one of the purport also, it is mentioned. We discussed. We had a question where was the location of performance of this yajna, and in the purport it is mentioned earth, because he saw the omens, bad omens, from the sky and as well as in the earth. So, and also Ranganath Prabhu also mentioned from his experience of listening to one of the classes, it could be earth, or I think he heard from Shamananda Prabhu or something. So that was taking place in earth. And from the other class that I have heard, it was happening in the Satya Yuga. So we know in Satya Yuga, the characters or qualities of people were so high, right? Highly respectable, in very high mannered. Even if we watch old movies, even in Kali Yuga, we watch very old movies like whatever year, I don't know, 50s or 60s, I don't know. The way that the characters speak with each other with high respect, very high respect, and even say, oh, don't act like a fool, don't be a fool, even the saying is with some um how do I say, some not serenity, but then that respect or good manners. But if you see any movies these days, or even any clips you see, even the child doesn't have that good manners, generally speaking, not everybody, but generally speaking. And if you see any child speaking with respect and respecting the elders by getting up and offering obeisances, the people will be amazed. They'll be like, oh, wow, in this day and age, like this child. Because Kali Yuga is always, you see, even from Satya Yuga, as we progress, it is degrading only. But there you can imagine then how people would behave with each other in Satya Yuga, but still mind is very strong, unfortunately. And another learning I heard from one of the lectures was, interestingly, you need to be indifferent to the tides in your lives. Very high tides, it come and go. Sita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha. So we will all face in one way or another, whether Adi Atmika, Adi Baudiga, or Adi Deviga, in one way or another, the problems do come and go. But it is very hard. We get agitated, especially when two people in the same place, the quarrel comes. That's the definition of Kali Yuga. And the purport also, Prabhupada says, like how bangles, if two bangles together, it makes noise. They make noise. Similarly, when two people are together, especially women, they do make noise. It's just the way it is with the woman's nature. They don't get along very quickly. They get along very quickly, but they don't stay along all the time. But again, it's general concept. They do not take offense thinking, I'm not like that. You know what I mean? So it's just general concept. And also from the purport of Prabhupada. So the learning is whether I personally behave in such a way or not. There are high chances that we would behave in that way. Therefore, always to be cautious and to be wise. The wise is the one who learns from others' experience, not wait until he or she experiences it personally. Correct? That's the wisdom. Coming back to the interrupted service of Yajna, is Daksha's Yajna, however, it did continue. When Romaharshna Sutta in Dwapara Yuga was doing this Bhagavatam Yajna with fire sacrifice also, when he was performing, not Bhagavata, Bhagavata Saptaha, it was interrupted because of his attitude, not standing up and respecting. See, here we see two different situations. Balaram, he is in the position to correct the person who did not offer obeisances or did not get up and gave respect, honorable respect to Balaram when he came. Why he was doing pilgrimage? Because Balaram did not want to participate in Kurukshetra war. He was the teacher of both Bhima and Duryodhana, and he doesn't want to take any side. Therefore, he decided that he would rather go and on a tour. And when he attended this Naimisharanya Yagya, he noticed Ramaharshanasutta did not get up from his seat. He was in Vyasasan. Vyasasan, even if Vyasadev was present on Vyasasan, he would still have given respect, correct? So he was having that attitude that I do not need to get up, or he should have at least offered the gesture of that he is offering obeisances. Sometimes someone sitting on Vyasasan, some other personality coming, we just show the gesture with eyes or some body movements, the upper body movements, and saying that yes, we are welcoming you with respect, with awe and reverence. Please come. So we do that, right? Not sitting with high attitude, bad attitude, and not even respecting. But what to speak of Balaram is coming. Lord himself, Supreme Personality of God himself is coming. And he did not have that basic manners to stand up or even show the gesture of respect. The position Balaram was in to punish, therefore he did that because he is Lord. However, Lord Shiva, here, even though he was in a position to punish then and there Daksha's behavior, here Lord Shiva did not get up, and Daksha was no way in any position to punish Lord Shiva at all, right? So one who has faults, how they can rectify others' faults? So Prabhupada often gives this example: blind leading another blind will fall into a ditch. Another analogy he gives is that you're already drowning. How can you save another drowning man? So these are the things telling us that we have our own limitations where we can give advice to others or we can help others. The best thing is to direct to the person who is in authority or that position, not necessarily authority in the terms of always in terms of management, but also in the terms of the authority means their experience, their learning, their behavior. That's the most important. They can be a small child, and our first Siksha Guru was this brahmachari who is much younger than me and my husband, but we are so grateful to his association. We don't sit and talk philosophy or he would give advice or anything, just simply by his behavior, simply by his actions. We know what he would like and what he doesn't like, and we would just try to mold our behaviors, at least in front of him. At least we like to please him and do what he would would like us to do in terms of preaching or any activities or services. He is definitely younger than us, but far matured than us. Therefore, the authority doesn't necessarily mean that the position, management position, or a position in any other situation or age. It's just that, their behavior, their action, and how they've been consistently exhibiting the skill. In corporate, when they assess you for performance management, they make a important text before a group of other texts that consistently demonstrated. So if we have not consistently demonstrated the good behavior, only occasionally demonstrated, then that doesn't count. It's good, it's still good, but not good enough for us to give advice to other person. But of course, we can always repeat what we heard from the Shastras, from Prabhupada, the purports, and say, for the question, I believe the answer was already given in one of the purports or in the lecture, something like that. But again, it's up to us who we go and get the counseling from when we have this type of tribulations in our mind. Daksha did not take any advice. He just reacted, right? So there is a case where, but it didn't get interrupted. And then also with Roma Harshana Sutta, it didn't get interrupted because Balaram delegated the position to his son, Roma Harshana Sutta's son, Sutta Goswami. And of course, because he has this pure heart and pure bhakti, so he is the one should be giving us that knowledge of Bhagavata Katha, not Roma Harshana Sutta with that attitude. Therefore, there has to be some drama to replace the delegate. So that's what happened. That was orchestrated by the Lord himself. But still, of course, if Rama Harshana Sutta was also a pure devotee, also behaved in such a good manner, then there was no need of replacing the position, right? So that's one of others, right? And the other thing is the somewhat interrupted yagya. Example is Anga's yagya. What Anga did was, he's coming from the lineage of Dhruv Maharaj, and he is a great bhakta also. He wanted to perform yagya. The brahmanas were well qualified. Whatever the sacrificial objects they used were all quality based, so no question about that. Everything was done perfectly, and they are also inviting demigods in a good manner. But demigods did not come. They did not take the share, and this worried brahmanas, and they complained to Anga. Anga questioned why this is the case. Did I make any mistake? Did I offend them? Did I insult them in any way? Why they do not appear? Why they do not take their part of the sacrifice, of our sacrifice? Then always this priests are in Brahmana order, Brahmanas and then Brahmana order. Brahmana order are the ones who perform the yajnas. They are qualified, more qualified than the Brahmanas, because they go to the special thing, Kalpa Sutra, Mimamsa Sutra. They learn, they study the yagya process, including pronunciation and everything. Now, when everything is done perfectly, still why the case of Devi Devadas, especially Devadas, did not accept their share? Then the Brahmanas say, because they are Trikala Jnanis also, they are. No? So they could see that in previous life of Anga, he performed some sinful activities. For that, he doesn't have a child now. Then what they suggested is, because you do not have a child, they don't want to take an offering. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that, quoting Chanakya Pandit's point, that the house without a son is equal to nothing. It's a sunya. It's abominable. So of course we talk about gender equity these days. So we can't just raise a voice saying you only do putra kamashi yagya. Why not putri kamashi? We say that. But those days putra is more prominent, and also the name we write he instead of she in our general conceptualizing the gender-based pronoun. What we say is he. We won't say she in writing, but these days even sometimes we say he/she, right? But one who has this fortune, he would do this. You know what I mean? Like we say he because that is referring to human being. It doesn't necessarily refer to she or only or he only. It refers to both. Correct? That's the way of writing. In writing, even in poems also, that's the he only they say. But when they say mother earth or garden or flower, then automatically they say she. I saw a rose, she was so beautiful. You know what I mean? So we just connect the gender. But again, it's not because of gender inequity. It's a general conceptualization. That's all. Okay, we shouldn't get offended on that. But coming back, Prabhupada saying in the purport that yeah, that's putra is necessary because he is the one putrayate. He is the one relieves the forefathers and fathers from the putra hell. Hell. Trayate means delivers, one who delivers from that hell. So when forefathers or fathers committed any sins, they go to hell and they wander around there until they get liberation. How do they get liberation if they have not performed piety? Only through the son. Which son? Pious son. Otherwise, they all go. They stay in hell only. Even son will go in the later times of the life. So we see Atmadev's pastime, Gokarna pastime also that happens. How because he did the Bhagavata Sabdaha for his brother who is in the ghost he is the ghost himself. He released he liberated his brother, Dandukari. So coming back, this somewhat interrupted yagya, this young anga is now suggested by the sages or brahmanas that first you do the putra kamashi yagya, get a son, then we do the yagya, then devatas will accept their share. Then they do that, but unfortunately Vena takes birth, and we know what happened after that. I discussed this also in one of the classes. So then the yagya result going wrong. This example is Twasta, a carpenter for this celestial being for the heavenly planet. He had a son, Vishwakarma, or just thinking, Vishwakarma is the architect. So his son, one son was Vritrasura, we know, and then the other son was Vishwakarma. So Twasta and his son Vishwakarma. We know this story also I discussed in one of the classes, how he performed yajna. He is supposed to perform the yajna for Devadas because he is somehow related to the Asuras. He was also somewhat performing the yajna for their benefit as well. This automatically came to know to the demigods, right? So Indra killed him, Vishwakarma. So then Tvasta became furious. He wanted to take revenge and kill Indra. Therefore, because he is Brahmana himself, he performed a sacrifice. But what he did, he mispronounced a particular syllable that lead to having a son to kill Indra, having a son to be killed by Indra. Okay, that is Vritrashura. Vrita means the embodiment of drought. And naturally, he is inimical to rain. Rain god is Indra. So he was born as a natural enemy to Indra. And then, but Vishnu knew that um, before Vishnu's concept will cover that this Vritrasura had a boon that he cannot be killed by a weapon made of metal or wood. So this Devadas, whatever they tried, it went in vain. Therefore, they went to Vishnu. That's what Vishnu says, yes, I knew. Therefore, what you should do, make a weapon that is not made of wood or metal. So he also gave suggestions. See, this is what if you look at this Kurukshetra pastime also, he would give all these indications and gestures to even Bhima, how he says that the lower part of the body of Duryodhana has not received any boon from Gandhari. There is no immunity. Every other part of the body, that also created by Krishna only. So Gandhari would silently tell in ears of Duryodhana one night when he comes to take blessings from Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, because next day he has to go for Kurukshetra war. So that time they bless, but silently, Gandhari tells in Duryodhana's ears that come tonight to my inner chambers. I need to talk to you. Then he goes, or tonight or tomorrow early morning, I think. So what he does, but come naked, she tells. So he goes naked only. But Krishna appears there. And then he laughs at Duryodhana. Where are you going? Then Duryodhana says, I'm going to see my mother. Okay, this is how you would go and see one's mother? And then he says, no, my mother particularly mentioned that I should go naked, but I really feel awkward, Krishna. You tell me, you suggest me. See, who is asking who? It's like putting fox to look after the chickens. So Krishna tells, um, yeah, you shouldn't go like that. I'll give you an idea. See, mother, if she tells naked means what? You come almost naked. It doesn't mean naked. You should have at least covered your lower part of your body, Duryodhana. This is very shameful. Then Duryodhana says, okay, okay, I will cover my lower part. Then he puts his banana, he found some banana leaf and he covers this lower part, goes and takes blessings. That time, Gandhari asks, so Krishna disappears. He has done his job, he disappears. And then Gandhari asks Duryodhana, son, have you come naked? And he says, yes. Then when because for his chastity and austerity that she has been performing for so many years for his husband, she accumulated so much spiritual powers. When she opens the eyes, it just eliminated the body of Duryodhana, and all part of his body except the covered part, the concealed part, received the strength, the immeasurable strength that no one can kill him that way. Then after finished that process, Gandhari asked, my son, I told you to come naked. Why did you cover your lower part? Well, mother, I did come naked, but Krishna, he stopped me on the way and he said, I shouldn't go like this in front of your mother. So you should at least cover your lower part. Duryodhana, Krishna is all knowing. He knew what is going to happen, what I'm going to give you, the boon that I received, I was going to pass it on to you. He knew. So he purposely made that. So now you will be you will have immeasurable strength on all part of your body, but except the lower part. So I'm sorry, my son. And then she cries, she bursts into tears. And Duryodhana asks, Mommy, can we do something? I go again and come naked. Can we try? And she's, no, it doesn't work like that. I released all my power, and you received that almost, the 3/4 immunity. Now I don't have any more power, my son. Nothing would happen. Even if you come naked, it's your choice if you come naked, but nothing will happen. Then he goes, he doesn't care. He's a warrior, Kshatriya always depends on their own strength, not. But still, it's good to have extra immunity. But again, he just goes to the war. And when Bhima tries to kill him, he couldn't kill him at all. That time, he looks at Krishna. Then what is this? This man doesn't get killed only. So what do we do? Then Krishna gives the gesture that lower part of the body. Then he knew, okay, now I try. And then he kills Duryodhana by doing that. That is it's unethical, right? It's not as per the Yuddha Shastra, of course. And even Balaram becomes very angry at this. But Balaram, Lord Krishna convinces Balaram, come on, he has done so many impious activities in Dharma Shastra, so that's okay, because we need to re-establish the religion. For that, we have to do something like this. So that's all right. So coming back to this killing Vritrashura, that happened. But Dadichi, so Vishnu gives the indication that if you go to Dadichi, he is a great sage. He's very good jnani. If you ask him to give his spine bone, he will give. And then immediately Indra goes as a Brahmana or something. He asks, and then he kills himself. This Dadichi, he kills himself and gives the spine bone to Indra. And then they make this Vajrayudha. Okay. And that's one story. And then, of course, with Vajrayudha, he kills this with Vritrashura. And Yeah, so these are interrupted, uninterrupted, somewhat interrupted, mispronounced yagyas. Okay, so we learned our lessons from the beginning. All we need to do is do our chanting with attentiveness so that we can, you know, test our result by seeing whether we do see the tears in our eyes or hair stand up on the end or not. But at least if that doesn't happen immediately, we know from heart that whether we are doing it correctly or not. Right? If we get agitated when our ego is touched and we do not become indifferent to the situation and we do not depend on Krishna fully, then we will know that we will have to go a long way. Okay, so I stop here. If any questions or comments, please. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
Salam.
Prabhuji. Dhanyavad.
Mataji, just one question comes to my mind that are you aware of any example where Brahmanas have not uttered the mantras correctly and animals have been killed already and not revived back into a new body or something like that? In other words, what happens when mantra has been tested but not successfully?
Yeah, nothing comes out in my mind immediately for such animal sacrifice, but with the other sacrifice, Tvasta's case, yeah, mispronunciation example is given, but I have not come across mispronunciation leading to animal not getting to the next stage of life, getting better body. But also the other thing, also I do not have the answer for that, Prabhu, sorry, but also I wanted to cover this point as well. The yajna is performed in animal sacrifice. Yes, we know the old animals only chosen and performed in the yajna, so they get the new body. Anyway, they are going to die soon, therefore it is all right to use it in the sacrifice. So they get the piety, and the others get the piety also, whoever is performing. But the question asked in one of the lectures is, okay, what is the use? They come again, take birth, and then they're going to die again only. But uh, our goal is to not to come into the cycle of birth and death, right? So the point we should take, especially for Kali Yuga, that we want to get out of the cycle of birth and death and attain Krishna. For that, we need to perform yajna correctly, that is Sankirtan yajna. So those days they did that, yes, but still they were in the Dharma, Artha, Kama only, not Moksha as such, right? So that point also I wanted to cover. So thank you for Prabhu. And I'm sorry I do not have an answer for you.
That's okay, Mataji. Thank you. Another point, Mataji, that you mentioned, and this is for a general discussion again. Can we really say that Lord Chaitanya is not as merciful as Lord Nityananda simply because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to kill Madhai when Nityananda Prabhu was attacked?
There is one saying in Tamil, "Oru pana sothukku oru soru padam." So that means you to test the cooking completion of the rice, you will take only one grain of rice and test it, and not the entire rice and keep testing every single piece of rice. Therefore, to give us that indication that Nityananda Prabhu is more merciful than Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, definitely I'm not saying Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not merciful, but just to indicate or highlight or make that prominent, that episode is given to us. Otherwise, they would have hidden the episode, or not even that episode would have taken place. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself wanted to make sure Nityananda Prabhu is worshipped before himself. Therefore, to give that indication through some pastime, that drama that had been orchestrated, that is my understanding, Prabhu. You're more than welcome to correct me.
Thank you, Mataji. You see, in this episode of Daksha and Shiva, a devotee is being offended here, and in fact, Sati gives up her body. Lord Shiva gets extremely angry. So does it mean that he's not merciful?
So the
Because,
mercy comes through in different emotions, not necessarily kindness. So the mercy, more merciful, would come through chastisement. Example is our Guru. So Lord Shiva being in a position of the spiritual master, not only for Mother Sati, but also the jivas in the material world, it is his position. Tolerating for some time was his humility and kindness. Already that mercy was shown, but still that is being exploited by Daksha. Now the next stage of emotion is to become angry and chastise or punish or reforms the person who is giving a bad role model behavior. Yat yat acharati shrestha tat tat eva trojanaha. So that is not being exemplified by, demonstrated well by Daksha. So the position changed from being kind and tolerance to anger. Even Balaram, he did not even tolerate for a second to Ramaharshana Sutta. Immediately he punished. That was his position. So we see the mercy come through different emotions. So we shouldn't be judging the emotions and say this is mercy and this is not mercy. So I believe the punishment is mercy also. And again, Prabhu, you can correct me if you think differently.
Thank you, Mataji, for your comments. I see Nankishore Prabhu is online too, so whether he wants to make any comments on these two inquiries I have made, and others are there as well.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my pranams, everyone. Okay, in regards to the first one, in what happens when a mantra is chanted and it is incorrectly chanted and the animal has been sacrificed, elsewhere it is stated that actually then it's sinful because the animal has been killed and he has not been rejuvenated. So any killing is more or less sinful. But then, of course, that sin you have to counteract by other means, like when the Kshatriyas go and kill the animals in the forest to try and get their skills up to date with a moving target so that they can be efficient in a war. Then it does not mean that actually that killing, it doesn't have a sinful reaction to it. It does. And therefore, part of other things that they do, they actually do to counteract, the sins are counteracted through that, such as, performing other yajnas and sacrifices even further. So yes, they are sinful. It becomes a sinful activity if the animal is killed and it's not rejuvenated. So that killing it is then turned as a sinful activity. Therefore, the Brahmanas used to be so qualified that they knew exactly what they were doing. And there were 4 Brahmanas in the yajna, who, Advaryu and Hota. They're the different kinds of priests, and one of them was specifically deputed to make sure that the pronunciation is good. So it's a rare occurrence. It did happen even in those days sometimes, and it had different effect. But if you happen to use a test animal and then the animal dies and you haven't benefited it in any way, it may have been done as a sacrificial purpose. But if the animal is killed and it's not given a proper life because of your inefficiency in chanting the mantra, then of course then it became a problem. So then that problem would again be dealt with and corrected in another way by the Brahmanas. So the sinful reaction would not come, but at the same time, something may be done so that jiva who was unfairly dealt with is still given a higher birth. So because there were other qualified Brahmanas still present, and they would look for a remedial measure to do that. Now that's the thought that comes to me in regards to that. And
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can I interrupt, Prabhuji? Prabhuji, so if the Brahmanas, they are testing their mantric power there, but they will still have their guru brahmana there, isn't it? Other qualified
Yes,
brahmanas.
that's what I'm saying.
Can't they rejuvenate the killed animal?
Yeah, they could do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
they're very qualified. We even know how they churned the body of Veena to get out all the bad things and then make a Prithu and Archie appear. So what could they not do? They were very, very powerful in those days, and we don't have that facility in this day, as Mataji said very, correctly, that in this day and age, such things are not possible. Such qualified brahmanas are not there, so we don't resort to those kind of things at all. And therefore, these people who go and offer these goats and other things to Kali, actually, most of them, they are just running a slaughterhouse. That's all. They are not really even worried about worshipping Kali, but they, in order to market their product, they actually trying to advertise it that it's like Kali Prasad. But if Kali may have hundreds of such dead bodies and it doesn't affect her, but if you have one of those, then you get endowed with sinful activity. You get implicated in that. So, but they don't know that. One place Srila Prabhupada writes about Kali worship that actually, although it shows that Kali is drinking the blood and doing this, that actually she is not actually even touching those things. The other creatures who are low creatures who are accompanying her, they actually feast on that. She doesn't. So what kind of Kali Prasad is this? It's actually ghost Prasad probably. So that's another point. What was the other discussion, Prabhu?
Prabhu, the question was an example of mispronunciation in the animal sacrifice. That was the question actually. Ranganath Prabhu's any example, any case study.
Oh yeah, that you gave properly, because you did mention that if there is a mispronunciation, then there will be a different result. But if the animal died and you could not rejuvenate it because of a mispronunciation of a mantra, then of course, there are other priests present there who may correct that situation in some way or other. But if they're all not able to do it, that means they were not qualified brahmanas, then they get implicated in sinful activity. That's all I was saying.
Yes,
right.
thank you.
So
the second question, Nityananda Prabhu, merciful.
Oh yes. Now this thing, actually there are two perspectives to this. One was what you all discussed and mentioned, which is also correct, that one of the types of mercy is of course punishment. That is also considered merciful. But generally, people look at mercy as someone who has been so bad and yet they are forgiven, or they are being they somehow or other they're forgiven so that they can go further in their spiritual progress, or if they cannot actually improve on their own just by forgiving them, then they are given the punishment. Now, in case of Jagai and Madhai, Lord Nityananda, they offended Lord Nityananda. So the reaction of Lord Chaitanya would certainly be, which is a most important thing to teach, is that if a devotee is offended, then one should not tolerate it. So we may, that does not mean that a devotee is not merciful, but in just like the Lord does not tolerate the offense to a devotee also should not tolerate an offense to another devotee. It goes like that. Another point to that, which probably we should think about, it's a perspective, is that, Krishna is there, he is all merciful, but his mercy comes through his followers and his devotees. So even Lord Nityananda's mercy that was coming to the living entities is through Lord Chaitanya. Because Lord Chaitanya was the one sending out Haridas Thakur and Lord Nityananda out on the streets to try and deliver the conditioned souls. So that is Lord Chaitanya's mercy. So so what is coming through Lord Nityananda is also Lord Chaitanya's mercy. But that's the process to receive the mercy. Therefore, it may appear that the the Lord is sometimes not merciful. What your statement is also correct. It's like an Achinta Veda thing, because yes, you cannot approach the Lord directly, so you approach him through his servants, and the servants are considered more merciful than even the master is. So if we go through the servants, there is more possibility of getting the mercy through the master. But that's how the mercy also descends. So we should probably keep that in mind as well. So definitely Lord Chaitanya is as merciful as Lord Nityananda, but he would like us to go through Lord Nityananda to get his mercy. That is the parampara system. And when that, why is that in place? Because then that actually brings us to the point of when the chief quality of a devotee, which is humility, we don't jump our acharyas to go to the higher acharya. We don't do those things. And this is in line with our mood of bhakti, which should be developed. And therefore, it is enforced in that way. So anyway, those are the thoughts that come to mind in regards to this. I don't know if it addresses your question, Prabhu, properly.
Yes, Prabhuji, it does. That's proper perspective, Prabhu. You have put everything into it. I was thinking along the same line. It's very nice to hear this elaborated answer from you. Lord is the reservoir of all good qualities and it's manifesting through Nityananda Prabhu. Excellent, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for clarifying.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. If you allow me, I'll contribute a little bit towards it.
So your line is breaking, Prabhu. I don't know if your line or my line.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
The bandwidth is low. It says your bandwidth is low, so it's a bit of breaking. You try again. Hare Krishna.
Haribol Maji, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
All right. So if you allow me, I'll also like to say something about the second part. Well, the first part mainly is my understanding is there was no room for error. And if there was any errors, it's so unusual that Bhagavatam didn't bring it to light. I haven't come across it anyway in regards to them making big mistakes like that. Because as Nandakishore Prabhu said, there was protocols and procedures in place where they had backup Brahmins to make sure that everything was done impeccably. And I've not come across anything. I don't think there's anything documented in that regard. Second part of it, with regards to Nityananda Prabhu's mercy, two things come to mind. Is the allegoric story that Prabhupada uses a lot, which appears in Bhagavatam, is about the guru that gives mercy to the four people that came to him. The first one was a son of a Brahmana, and he says, "May you die immediately." So same guru giving mercy, but depending on the place and circumstance and the person, he gives a different blessing. The second one who came through to him was the son of a king, and he says, "May you live as long as you live." The third person came to him was the butcher, and he says, "You neither live nor die." And the third person who came to the guru was a Vaishnava, and he said, "You neither live, you can live or die, it does not matter." So then when they asked, "How can you give blessings to a different individual differently?" He says, "Okay, see, when the son of the king came to me, he's enjoying a lot of opulence. So in this lifetime, let him appreciate as much as he can, because next lifetime he won't have the same opulence. So live as long as you can." When a Brahmana came to me, is that he's accumulated a lot of punya. So effectively, he should die immediately and start enjoying his punya. When the butcher came to me, he says, is that he is living such a hellish life that if he dies now, He'll have, while he's living, he's having a horrible life. And if he dies now, he's going to have a horrible life. So neither live nor die. But a Vaishnava, it doesn't matter. If he's living or dying, he's always in the service of Lord Vishnu. So the Guru's mercy will come accordingly in time, place, and circumstances. Now, how that brings about to Nityananda Prabhu, if you're looking at the example of Shivananda Sen. So Shivananda Sen, if you're looking at here, he blessed these two rogues and, miscreants with Krishna Prem, where Shivananda Sen was very, very meticulously involved in devotional service to him. But because the Shivananda Sen was caught up in an administrative role in the execution of his devotional service, he made Nityananda wait. So Nityananda Prabhu cursed Shivananda Sen that may your two sons die immediately. And when Shivananda Sen came to the basis and thank you for his mercy, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who gave so much mercy to Jaga and Madai, kicked him in the head. So the mercy of the Guru can come in different ways. And Nandakishore Prabhu pointed out rightly that if the roles were reversed, Nityananda Prabhu would have done the same as well. He would not have tolerated, if somebody offended Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then Nityananda Prabhu, as Adi Guru, as Lord Balaram, like what he did Rama Ashna, you would not have tolerated. Of contribution. And I apologize if I'm wrong.
Hare Krishna. It looks like both Jamuna Mataji and Isvari Laxmi Priya Mataji connections have dropped out. So I think we'll end the class here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.